Good evening, everybody. It is Straight Talk Food for the Soul, and we are back. And I have a new guest and a new friend tonight. Y'all forgive my voice. I was at a women's conference today, and we had to speak Friday night, and we worked hard today at church. But I'm going to ask Juan to pray us in, and then I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we're going to get started.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come together in love and understanding. This is a safe space for everybody to voice their opinions and for people to learn about this journey that we're going through in finding our person, finding the right person for us that's going to be uh, positive in our lives, positive spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and provide us with that other half uh, that makes us want to be better every day and strive for the things of you, God. All these things we ask in your precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, amen. And thank you for those who've already popped on quickly tonight. Okay, Juan, normally on my podcast, I always have words to define. And the reason why words are so important to me is because I'm 58 now, but I didn't learn how to spell until I was 47. I raised 10 kids, wrote a book, and I ran two businesses. And I could get away with it for a while. And I was in college and I couldn't spell. So words mean a lot to me. Now that I can spell a lot better, I love words. But I've been hearing this particular word quite a bit lately. And it's about women are asking this question to men. So the word we have tonight is self-aware. I'm going to give you my definition. And then I want you to add, take away, or quantify the definition that I have. So we want to get your side of what the definition is. So the word is self-aware. It says knowing and being conscious and have the knowledge of one's own character and feelings. What you think about the definition?
Okay, and I'm taking notes as well. So knowing, let's break it down. So knowing is about being knowing yourself, the things that you know, the things that you don't know, the things that you can just reach out and grab that information from another source, or the areas where you need help. Being conscious of those areas means that you're keeping those in mind of where the things that you do well, the things that you don't do well, and being conscious of that when you bring that into a conversation, into a relationship, into a room of people, into whatever audience that you may be interacting with or speaking to. And then in terms of character and feelings, everyone has a different character that they bring with them. So are you a person of good character? Do you have an agenda? Do you have ulterior motives? Are you bringing positivity? Is your uh, character a character of bringing people together, or perhaps a character of division? And I think the Bible is very clear that you're not supposed to be trying to cause division between people. It's about bringing people together. And then feelings is a whole it can be a whole different thing, because how our feelings interact in those instances, in those little nuances, affect the way that we're going to behave. So in terms of feeling like an offense has been taken, or giving a feeling of being offensive, uh, you want to make sure that you're not either creating or taking an offense when you're or at least I try not to give or take an offense when I'm walking through life.
I'm going to say this. When I met you during the conference, what I noticed about you, that you're so well balanced. And
Well,
I
thank
can I can only say that about 5 men that I know. Hello, Pastor Jamal. I love you. Thank you for popping on. My dad, who's gone, my pastor, who is my pastor now, who's my son-in-law, my mentor, Overseer Stephen Sherrod, and a very, very good friend of mine. It's your friend, who's Pastor Tony.
All right. All right.
So
Well,
y'all
I
are well-balanced men. You speak well, y'all speak with clarity, with understanding, and you know yourself. And I think that will be very attractive to a woman that sees you because you know you, and then I'll be able to see me in you because you already know you. So,
appreciate that so much.
yes, sir. And I have a scripture tonight, and this scripture is because of what I saw in you at the conference. That's how I picked this scripture. And it
Okay.
comes from Second Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourself, whether you be in the faith. Prove your own self. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except you be a reprobate. I know you know yourself. And that's why, and when it said examine myself, when I heard you speak, you always examine yourself first, and you seem like a man that's very accountable.
Accountability is very important to me. And I try to really be mindful of the things that I say, and because I'm accountable for every word that comes out of my mouth. And if I'm not speaking clearly or not giving full clarity, it's on me because I'm the one sending the message. So, in terms of communication, there is the sender, then there's the message, then the receiver. It's up to the sender to make sure that the receiver is receiving the message that was intended. Now there's feedback that's involved in between the two, so you can request more information to make sure that you're receiving the message correctly. But in the event that that does not happen, I have to do my best as the sender to make sure that everything was presented in an accurate manner and an effective manner so that the person gets the message, the complete message, the first time it's sent.
That is very good because I believe that I'm responsible for how I hear it, and the person is responsible for how they say it. And I'm accountable to me for whatever I think, feel, and how I move. I can't blame anyone for what's going on. And I've been in some situations. And something you're gonna find out real quick, one is I'm so transparent. Sometimes to my own demise. I've been married twice, and both times I found myself in the courthouse, standing before a man in a black robe. And I asked myself, how did I get here again? And
Yeah.
both men I married were my best friends. I don't understand how we got here. And it was just so, it was hard to get married, hard to find my friend, but then it was so easy for my name to change. Within 30 minutes, my name changed.
Yeah. That's
So,
the that was the hardest part for me, was standing up in the courtroom and, for example, well, actually both of my exes, because I've been married twice as well. So I understand where you're coming from completely. I can empathize with you because you've been through so much with that person, and you stand before this judge, and within a matter of minutes, all of that is just null and void. All of that is gone. And you're still dealing with the feelings and all the emotions that went into it, and everything that was tied up in that relationship. And it they sign off on the paperwork like it's nothing. And you're like, what what just happened? Like, was it that easy for you? And then I had to think back that they don't have anything invested in. I'm the person that has something invested in that relationship. I was the one that took the time to pour myself into it. I was the one that made the mistakes. I was the one that had the successes. I was the one that did all that, this, that, and the other. That judge had no. It was a business thing for them. Yeah,
Mm.
if I can use that term, it was just transactional. So you put forth whatever evidence there is to say this is why you want it to end, and they just sign off on it. It's tough,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it definitely didn't make me feel any better about the situation, but I definitely empathize with where you were in that process, because I've stood in that courtroom and felt the same way. Like, it's over that quick. Like, what just happened?
I thank you for empathizing with, but so I empathize with you as well, because now I know your story, and now I know why you speak the way you speak and why you carry yourself the way you carry yourself, because you know pain. And for us women, sometimes we don't believe men. I'm just gonna be for real. We don't believe that y'all in pain. We believe y'all move on quickly, because at times it is the men that are in our circles. It's not all men. It's the men that we choose to be around that can move on quickly. And then we label everybody the same, which we're so incorrect. And for those of us who have done it, I apologize to you, because we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't do it because it's just unfair. Because it's like, I don't want nobody to think I'm like every other woman they've ever met.
Right. And I appreciate that. And I know you cannot speak for every woman, but at the same time, I do appreciate that you would say that, uh, because so that's why I'm also very careful when I speak about men and women. Uh, I'm very careful about saying many women, a lot of women. Uh, I'm trying to even avoid saying most women at this point, because it's not the majority of women that feel a certain type of way. There are small groups, there are pockets of women or sample sizes of women that feel a certain type of way. And there are also select women that don't feel that way, that are genuine in what they want and are very purposeful about the way they speak, about men in general, uh, the groups of men or the sample sizes of men that they've experienced that have done them wrong, or that they've met out in the dating scene in trying to find or develop a relationship. In terms of communication, the way we talk to each other, the way we talk about each other, all of that. Every person is an individual. Yes, some of the things that we may say may be similar. So, in terms of that, we may have a similar mindset to a sample size of men, or I may have a certain mindset that's similar to a sample size of men, some men, but I also know that I am very different. And that's something that I am very proud of. And I continue to strive to be, is very different from any other man that you might have met in your past. So you said that I reminded you of just 5 men. I'm very happy with that. Sample size is small. I mean, well, I'm flattered, but I'm flattered that the sample size is small. I wish the sample size was a lot bigger.
Yeah. I wish it was bigger. And there are men that I hold in high esteem, that I love and care about, but and they're in a different place, because, and I believe it or not, because I was married so long. My first marriage was 17, my second was 10. Most of my friends are married, and I know now I can't run in the same circles with them, because their agenda is different from mine, because they're single-minded. I only have to worry about me. They have to worry about each other.
Right.
So I'm not excluding those, my sister friends' husbands, but the men that are single, that I know other than my mentor overseer, because he's the one who helped me birth this. He's walked me through uh transition of churches, not wanting to be here. So I had to put him in that pocket. So, and he's in my life constantly and my pastor. So, but I'm just going to shoot some questions at you so
Okay.
we can see kind of where the mindset, your mindset is. And you're going to kind of speak for men because I'm trying to speak for the women that I talk to. And they download a lot of information. Some questions I want, some questions they want to know. My first question is, do you know how to apologize?
Yes. So first off, you need to understand what it is you're apologizing for and take accountability for it. Um, show um, show some form of repentance for it, and be able to explain how you're going to do better in that situation. So yes, I feel like I do have a good grasp on how to apologize.
How you get there? How did you get there?
I got there through accountability. I mean, it's very easy for people in general to place the blame on others. So for me, part of my process was I've always been, well, haven't always been good at taking accountability, but I became better and better at it over the years. And after my divorce, I really had to take a hard look at myself and say, there are some parts of me that I'm not taking accountability for. Uh, so I strive very hard not to say anything negative about my ex. I wish her all the success and love in the world. So for me, it was taking accountability of the fact that although I was doing training on effective communication, I was talking about active listening skills. I was talking about how to better communicate in the business environment. I was not bringing that home to our household. So, in terms of the things that we were going through and processing, she was having her own conversation with herself. I was having my own conversation with me. But as the husband, as the head of the household, as the leader who was supposed to be guiding and directing that relationship, I was not communicating with my wife on where she was, where we were in that process of healing and making sure that we continued the conversation and kept it going. And ultimately, the lack of communication led to the end of that relationship. So I take full responsibility for that. I take the accountability for that. And that was only achieved through uh, getting therapy, a lot of reading, a lot of doing things to better myself. Not just the Bible, but also other books on relationships, other books on taking accountability, other books on leadership skills. So uh, I had to take a harder look at myself to make sure that not just one finger was pointed back at me, but my whole fist was pointed back at me because, like, I beat myself up over that. Um, because it was my position to do that. It was my responsibility to do that, and I didn't do it.
I want to thank you to all my sister friends are popping on and my children are popping on. Thank you. Thank you. My next question is, because we hear this thrown around a lot. I've listened to numerous podcasts, talk show hosts. Everybody's talking about emotional maturity. What does that really mean?
Emotional maturity for me means knowing where I am at emotionally, whether it be a situation or a conversation, whether that's in business relationships. If any little thing where I might, as they say, feel some type of way, if I'm in a store and I feel like the person on the other side of the counter is treating me differently than they might treat someone else. If I'm driving in my car and I feel like uh, there's an officer that's following me for a particular reason, you know, having the emotional maturity to say, you know, what is my response in this situation? Because you can always react negatively, but if I ask myself, how do I respond? Then I'm looking at it from a positive standpoint. So recognizing how those emotional aspects tie into your everyday interactions, to your basic conversations, I go back to not causing or creating an offense to someone else and not taking an offense to every little thing that's being said to me. That is emotional maturity. And it also goes into, you know, knowing when to respond and when it's not a time to respond, because we also hear about ghosting a lot in
Yes.
relationships and getting to know people. Sometimes the emotionally mature response is to not respond, which has been coined ghosting, because from an emotional standpoint, you recognize that that other person is going to take you down a road that you don't want to go down, and they have not accepted that no, essentially. Sometimes no just means no. You're not the person for me. We would not do well together, however you want to put it. But the emotional investment of trying to explain that to you so that you would understand is going to put me in an emotional space that I don't want to be in. So sometimes it's protecting yourself by just simply moving on. So having the emotional maturity to say, I'm not going to allow this other person to take me down that road. I would rather discontinue the conversation. Sometimes that's what ghosting is about. Uh, you've already established that it's a no for you. You've already established that this is not the person for you and you don't want to go down that road with them. It's okay to sometimes be emotionally mature enough to say, I'm going to take myself out of this situation because it's not good for me emotionally. It's going to take me down a path that I don't want to go down. And I don't want to revert back to a previous version of myself that might have been a little uglier and might have been a little less polished, just to have a conversation, one last conversation with you.
I never, I don't guess I ever saw it that way. And I'm not a woman that needs closure. So, and most of us do. Um, if it's over, it's just over.
Right.
And I've had enough trauma and enough pain that I could just, if you're not there, you're just not there. I can compartmentalize just like we are on the screen and move on. So I don't necessarily know if that's a healthy thing or not. I constantly have to do a heart check, and I normally do this every morning. I check my heart. I take a good clean breath, 2 or 3 of them. And if I'm feeling something in the morning, I kind of breathe it out,
Mm-hmm.
walk it out, talk it out with God as I'm preparing to go where I'm going to go for the day so that I have some positive energy to put in the air. So, yeah, but I don't need, I'm just learning I don't have to have closure. And to every woman that will see this, sometimes just let it go without the closure. But we really need it sometimes. We really just need to hear why. And I hate to say why I wasn't good enough for you.
And sometimes that what you're going to get out of that conversation is not going to make you feel any better.
This is true. This is true. We're going to
And
stop. Go
I'll
ahead.
say I'll say that because I've been the person on the other end that wanted to know why.
Okay.
So I'm speaking for myself when I'm giving this advice. I've been the person on the other end wanting to know why, wanting to have some closure, wanting to know what was it that I could have done better. It never brought me the closure that I was looking for. It never was a positive. It was never a positive outcome. It always left me feeling worse than
Hmm.
just being able to move on in my own space. I was better off just moving on without having the conversation.
Wow. I want to stop for a minute because we went to a conference at the end of last month called Finding My Wife, and you were there, and that's how I met you. So for some of that, because I've been talking about it, telling my girlfriends about it, my children, they've been like, "Oh Lord, Mama, you went for real," and they know I did go, and I went with a purpose, and that's like closing the eyes, just praying. Uh, but tell us about your experience at the conference.
The experience was good. I met a lot of great people. I met a lot of lovely women, plenty of outstanding personalities. Everybody had a lot of positive things to say about the process. I didn't see a lot of negativity there, so that was definitely a positive experience. Everybody was talkative and interactive and wanting to get to know each other in general, whether or not um, so for me, whether or not they saw me as their person or not, they had seen me on the panel and they just wanted to know a little bit about me. They just wanted to have a small conversation, just like a meet and greet. And I thought that was awesome because I met so many more people and got to put faces with names that I had just been seeing on the screen or in the comments. So I thought it was an awesome event overall.
So he's Pastor Tony's doing it again in August in Atlanta, which I'll be there.
All right.
Be there with bells on, prepared. And I keep telling everybody, and because it was already prophesied to me last year by 2025, my husband would come to my life. So
All right.
I've just been trying to put myself in position so he'll find me. And
That's right.
I've been gleaning in the field, preparing myself for him, and I've been doing the work. And I normally only do this when I have married couples on. We have twice a month. I have married couples on. It's called Love is a Choice. And they come on and they talk about their journey and they inspire us to do better. But to my future hubby, every time that I have a couple, I write him a letter. And when I meet him, I have all the letters dated, and he knows what I've been doing while I've been waiting for him. So while you're on tonight, I'm going to read my letter to my future hubby. I normally do it at the end, but I kind of want to do it now.
Okay.
Uh, so for my future hubby, dear future hubby, I'm patiently awaiting for you. Dear future hubby, I'm saving myself and disciplining my body only for you. Dear future hubby, when I walk through crowds, I'm wondering if you're there. Dear future hubby, all my life I've been waiting for you. Dear future hubby, every second that escapes me causes me pain in my heart when you're not there. Dear future hubby, I've been praying for you. Dear future hubby, I'm fighting for the hope and the dream of you. Dear future hubby, I hope it won't be too long when God brings you my way. But until then, good night and I love you, dear future hubby. So when he comes, I have a stack of letters that he can go off in the room and just open every envelope dated. And he can see what I've been doing, waiting for him. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That is awesome.
Thank you so
One
much.
thing one thing I also like that you said was you're doing the work and you're putting yourself in position. Sometimes that's what it's all about. It's just putting yourself in the position to be found. You're not sitting up in the house waiting to be found like in your hiding spot. You're putting yourself in position. That could be, let's take the conference for example. If you were at the conference and there was somebody that you wanted to meet or you felt like that person might be your future hubby because everything seemed to be clicking in terms of what they were saying, and it matched up with your mindset. It matched up with the work that you've been doing in the background. Putting yourself in position could just be standing at the doorway. You just happen to be standing at the doorway when they leave to go to lunch, or when they are walking back to their seat, just so they notice you. Just to be noticed is putting yourself in position. It's not that you have to go all out of your way and be all up in their face. You're just putting yourself in position. I think that's outstanding.
Okay, I gotta ask a question.
Okay.
And because I have a really, it doesn't look like it right now, but I have a really big personality.
Okay.
And I know I can change the atmosphere of a room if it's my time. And I've been turned down by some fine men. And that don't hurt and it doesn't really hurt my feelings, because behind every no there's going to be a yes. I have had to learn, because I'll ask a man on a date. I just don't have no problem with it. I'm just at Walmart and I'm reaching for the yellow rice. Look, I'm tall enough to get it, but I want him to get it for me. I'm gonna ask him how he like his yellow rice. If he responds, good. If he don't, I'm putting it in my basket. I might go on aisle 3 and there's some green beans. I'm gonna see how he gonna respond. So, but I've had to learn to tone it down. And at the conference, they were talking about, the invisible handkerchief, that why is it wrong for a woman, or not as popular for a woman, to ask a guy out?
I don't know the answer to that one. It does not make any sense to me. I know that this word thirsty has been thrown around, and don't want to look thirsty, and but the whole concept of dropping the proverbial handkerchief to let the person know that you're interested could be as simple as, like I said, putting yourself in position. It's like you said, being there at the yellow rice and you see a man that you're interested in, asking him to get the rice for you and asking him how he likes his rice. Could be as simple as giving a compliment. There are so many ways that you can comfortably put yourself out there, or put it out there. You ask a man, or let a man know that he smells nice, and say, your lady must love that cologne on you. And if he says, I don't have a lady, I got this myself, that's your opening right there. You know that he doesn't have a lady, so that you've eliminated girlfriend and wife at the same time. That's your end. I mean, it's that simple. And that's dropping the proverbial handkerchief. You just gave a compliment and said, I'm sure your lady likes that fragrance. And he responded, he'll either respond, yes, she does, and then you can move on, or I don't have a lady. And then that's your opening. What's your name? Oh, you don't have a lady? What's your name? I don't have a problem with women approaching, as long as you're approaching with what you're comfortable with. If you are able to, like you said, ask a man out, you feel comfortable doing that, then do that. If you don't feel comfortable, and you would like to, but you can give a compliment, just do a compliment. There's so many different ways that you can approach it in the comfort of your own skin, that is going to put yourself in a better position for that person to see you in a different light, to see you in the light of, oh, this is someone I'm interested in. I'd like to know more about this person.
Okay. How do you do with long distance relationships?
Long distance relationships can be done. For me, it is a little bit tricky, just because I take care of my mother since her cancer surgery. So that's a little bit, that would require a lot more phone conversation, video calls, long distance dating where we watch a movie together or stream a movie together, things like that. So there wouldn't be as much opportunity for that physical contact. But that just means that we're going to build up that much more of our communication skills between each other in the time that we have apart. And then when we do get to see each other, we've done all that background work. We can just focus on fun while we're together.
Lord, you almost just woke up something in me, sir. Have mercy.
Okay.
Did you? Wait a minute.
Should I keep shaking?
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna keep shaking you.
Because I've never heard a man. I just never heard it, and most of my friends are men. I've just never heard a man say that it's okay to not be in physical contact with her as much, and that you can build your relationship, build the building blocks till y'all can be together. I've never heard a man say it like that.
Well, for me, I'm going to have a whole lot of conversation with a person, because when I'm 85, 90 years old, I still want to be able to have a conversation with my wife. So for me, having those initial conversations and knowing that we can communicate with each other about anything and everything is going to lead to better interactions overall. So that's my form of consistency over time. And you can find out a lot about a person just in those conversations on a day-to-day basis over the days or the weeks or however long it takes for you to actually be in each other's presence. And then you have essentially laid that foundation, because the little quirks that they have, different little things are going to be exposed in those conversations. If they come home upset about something that happened at work and they want to vent, you get to hear how they're going to vent. And this goes vice versa for men and women. So all of those little things can be determined. Do I want to spend time with my lady? Do I want snuggle time on the couch? Absolutely. That snuggle time on the couch is going to be so much better if we've gotten all those conversations out of the way and we've built that foundation of the relationship on communication and getting to know each other and getting to know those little nuances, those details, all the things that are discovered over time. Because yes, I can tell you I like steak and potatoes. Yes, I can tell you I'm a meatitarian. I will eat all the meats. I can tell you that I like my fish fried. I can tell you that I like to go bowling and I like to go to the arcade and I like to do this, that, and the other. Every other man out there can tell you that. But not every man can tell you that. It's those conversations where you find out, okay, I like what chicken salad, but I don't like my chicken salad with raisins. I like crab legs, but my favorite crab legs are king crab legs. I like lasagna, but I like my lasagna with ricotta cheese. That I like roses, but my favorite rose is a rose that has the petals are red on the inside and white on the outside. So all those little details. I like big face watches. There's a lot of men that can tell you they like big face watches. I, in particular, like a watch that has the analog hands as well as the digital, so that if the digital ever stops working, I still have the analog hands to tell time, and that I was in the military, so I can use it to find my direction, north or south, and figure out the rest from there. It's those little details that you find out over time through conversations. So that's what it is for me.
Everybody that pops on knows it's very rare that I don't have something to say. So, and you done took some words out of sister's mouth. And I'm saying this because I'm very, very transparent. And Pharrell, I see what you said. She don't like long distance relationships because she wants to be around the person. I'm gonna get to that in 1 second, Pharrell. I am. I know men think this is kind of crazy. I'm a very needy kind of girl. When he's here, my foot's got to be on his lap. I gotta fix his plate. We walk and we gotta hold hands, not because we have to, it's because I want to. I'm gonna always be sniffing him behind his ear. So it's so, and then the man is in my life. I didn't have my biological father in my life. My adopted dad passed last year. That was my daddy. I didn't have uncles. My brothers really aren't in my life. So the guy that's with me has to be a whole lot. And I say that walking in. And I've had gentlemen, and it's going to lead into what I want to say. I've had gentlemen to leave because it was too much. So for somebody like me, what advice would you give? Because I want and need a lot. Because when them women say, I don't want no man, I don't need no man, I'm not in that crowd. I'm just not in that crowd because I don't like girls because we ain't working like that. So I have to have a man that was born a man. Okay. So what advice would you give a lady like me?
Okay, first off, I want to say I'm sorry for your loss. Outside of that, I would say that you have the choice. Okay. I'm just telling you how a long distance relationship can work. Is it my preference? I would prefer to have someone right down the street so I could have more snuggle time with them. But I'm saying for me, the dating process is still going to start off with a whole lot of conversation before we get to going to water parks and on weekend trips and all of that stuff. I have to have that foundation first. For you, that's difficult. I don't know that I would ask you to step out of your comfort zone because that would be a drastic change for you and what you're used to. I would encourage you to be more mindful of the conversations that you're having up front so that the man will not leave. That's the only thing I can think of because in that consistency over time, they're going to understand you better. You're going to understand them better, and you're going to be able to more quickly determine if that person is the person that wants to be up under you just as much as you want to be up under them. Because it's a place of finding that connection. And a lot of times in dating, we bypass all of that connection stuff to get to the cuddling. So if you focus on the connection first, the cuddling will come, and that's going to make the cuddling that much better. I'm not saying that you cannot have a long distance relationship. I believe you can. I think right now is a little bit outside of your comfort zone because you want to have that cuddle time faster or sooner. Maybe expand how far outside your area are you willing to go?
I've had long distance relationships. I don't think, let me say this up front too. Let me get this part out. I do a lot of cuddling, but I don't have sex before marriage. And that's difficult for a lot of guys. First thing, because of my lifestyle and what I believe. And I believe my body belongs to one person. And I always believe that I never want my husband to walk in a room and several people have had me.
Okay.
I honor God and I honor him that way with the
Hmm.
discipline. And I discipline myself in my singleness. Because then when I get married, the Bible says marriage good and the bed is undefiled. I can do whatever I want with my husband. With my boyfriend, I can't do that. So I can do long distance, but when I do see him, some men don't like the touchy feely. Um, I mean, you can live in Denver, but how's it gonna be? How is it for men not to? How is it for men to date a woman who won't have sex until marriage? How does that work? Because it's not really worked for me right now.
Uh, you want the truth, or you want me to
No,
sugarcoat it?
I want you the truth. Uh,
Okay.
I'm saved, but this is a very truthful podcast. Come on with it.
Okay. Most men that I know of, once you get down to the cuddling and all that touchy feely and all that stuff, things start to happen downstairs, and sometimes you really want that release. And if all of a sudden we're not going there, it gets frustrating, especially if you've traveled to see someone. Um, when you're going back, you're not thinking about all the fun you had with that person. You're thinking about, was that close? And I had to go take a shower and try to go to sleep thinking about that. Now I got to fly back home and I'm thinking about, do I want to go back? Do I want to be faced with that again?
Woo.
That's what most men are going to probably be thinking. So you're going to run into one of three men. And since you're asking, I'll put myself out there.
Go ahead.
I'm the first man. If we're not, if you are living that lifestyle in the conversations ahead of time, I'm going to find that out. Okay. So one of my questions is, are you saving yourself for marriage? If you say yes, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that we're not going to be compatible. The second man is going to be the person that says, "Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can wait." But in the meantime, he's back in Denver getting it in. When he's with you, it's all roses and 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 all that, roses and romance. But when he's back in Denver, it's something else. The third man, which is going to be just as rare as you are of a jewel, is going to be the man that says, "Yes, I can wait. I feel the same way, and we'll work through this together." Now, does that mean that you're going to have to cut back on some of your cuddle time? It
Yeah.
might, because he may need to step away. He may shut you down before you get into all that cuddling because he's trying to control his flesh too. So I'm not saying that he's not out there. I'm saying he's just as rare as you are. Okay.
That's why it's been 8 years, y'all, and counting. Because since my divorce, I've only dated one person. And we were friends for 30 years. Um, we dated for 4 years. Um, and going in first day, I said, if this is not going to lead toward marriage, I don't want to do it. And the sad part is, we're not friends anymore. That was my greatest fear, is that I would lose my 30-year friend. And we just reconnected a few weeks ago, and we had a really good conversation. It was nice to see his face, nice to see his smile. But even when he touched my arm, it was so familiar. I had to walk away because he was just that good of a friend. It was just sad to me. And since then I haven't dated. I haven't dated. Not because of fear, because I'm looking for that person. And I just don't believe in dating a long time either. I believe us to go deep really fast, ask the real questions, and spending that conversation time you're talking about, talking all the time, just talking all the time. And I don't have no problem, even though I don't have sex. Oh, tell my children, y'all go away right now. They're all grown, but they listening. I'm going to have that conversation. y'all, my grandchildren, y'all click off. I'm going to have the conversation of what I like and what I don't like, and how I'm built on the inside, what makes me happy, what don't make me happy. I believe that should be a conversation had. What I like, what flips your wig and what does not. Just because I'm not having sex with you, that doesn't mean I'm not telling you what I need, how I need it, and when I'm going to get it, and how much you're going to get it when you do get it. So y'all can come back on now. Uh, but it's been difficult to be single. It really has. And like you said, the pickings have been really slim for a gentleman that's willing to wait. And I cannot carry the gospel, preach, teach, stand before the people and counsel, and then I'm having sex.
I understand.
It's just tough. And it's just tough. Unless I'm willing to step down, that means I have to choose between a man and my God. And I would hope the man that I choose would make me choose.
Right.
So I hope he would just say, I'm going to trust this girl, that she going to give it up when she's supposed to. I'm going to marry her. And that's my sidebar for the night.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
You ran into your friend. You ran into him again. You reconnected. Is he involved?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because we each have our own walk in life. So even though my walk is not where yours is, and I would simply say we wouldn't work out, he may have been walking a different walk at that time. You've reconnected for a reason. So it may be worth finding out where he's walking now. Where is he at in his position?
Wow. I'm going to do a heart check on that. I know
Okay.
my kids are listening. And the thing about the man that's with me, I have a tribe. It's 9 living children. One of my children passed. When I was hurt, they got hurt because they loved him. And when he left, that caused, even though it wasn't their stepdad, it was a daddy wound that opened up because their father left. So that's going to be a hard path for him to go through. I might could fall back in love with him, but he would have to really work with those relationships with my children. And see, I can't fix that for them. And he would have to do the work. Because they really love, and he knew my children before they came out of my womb. So, and to anybody who's gonna watch this and anybody's listening, when you date a woman with children, be real careful, especially because their children are gonna love you. And then if it doesn't work, and you don't stay in those children, and my children were adults, most of them were adults. The other ones were in high school, because I had a lot of babies. I mean, I had 3 babies in 5 years, so I'm gonna tell you, I had a lot of kids.
If he's willing to do the work and they're willing to forgive, or even if they can't get past it, if they would like to see you be happy regardless, um, there could be an opportunity there.
I really had never thought about it. Ugh. And something about my podcast, I learn something every week, either about my guests or about myself. I just had never considered, and this is like we having a conversation with the world. They're listening. Oh,
Hey, world.
they're listening. I hadn't thought about it. Because I was wounded. I was wounded. I forgive him, but I made a choice to stay with him even though he wasn't ready. So I can't blame him for that. But I had to opt out for me to make sure that I got everything I deserve and everything I need. And that didn't make it, he was an amazing guy. It wasn't nothing that I ever wanted that he didn't give me. And emotionally, to be with a preacher, a female preacher, because I don't know nothing about being a male preacher, I don't think he knew all what it took for me to get where I am. The processing that I have to work through, not mounting the pulpit, just a process in life. Other people, there are things I couldn't wear because I have people who follow me. I mean, there are places I can't go, not because there's anything wrong with the place, it's because they hold me in such high esteem. And that mantle that's on me is gonna fall on my husband.
Hmm.
That's gonna fall on my husband. So I need a dude that's really, really strong. And I would prefer a man that's more powerful than me. And I'm gonna say women are attracted to power. We just are. So that's my question. Um, why we're attracted to power, but how come once that attraction is there and we get there and we fall in love, how come y'all don't, not y'all, some men, let me get that right. Let me straighten that out. Why they don't stay there? Why, what happens? And is it something we could have done that would demean them that they didn't stay in their place? Because I really believe the man is the head. I don't know, most women may not. I don't believe that I am the head of the household. I believe he is. But why they don't keep their position?
Uh, Maybe I'm not understanding the question. So
I'm
you're
attracted to
attracted to the power.
but they don't stay powerful. I marry a man that is right here. I'm
Okay.
right here. I have no problem with it. And then I've had men that I've been in relationship see me moving in my giftings. They're not mine. And the giftings that God put in, jealousy seeped in. Um, and they didn't honor anymore what was on me. And they just didn't stay in their place because they were powerful in what they were doing already. What I do shouldn't take anything from them, but they would come off of where they were because I was might getting a little bit more shine. And I didn't understand that. Why? Why would you come down from where you are? Because God made you the head. If I was getting a little shine, it shouldn't matter. And I just feel like my picker may have been off a little bit because I know for sure the men that I've liked and been with, I choose wounded men because I had a God complex for a really long time until I went to counseling. And most of the men that I dated, they had issues with their dads and they may didn't have communication with them or didn't have relationships with them. And I'm not talking bad about them. I'm talking about the choices that I made. So I would choose a man and he would be in a certain position. And then when the relationship was moving, it would change. And I don't know why it would change.
So, okay, my first question would be, are you, okay.
You don't have to mince words, just ask.
No, no, I know you're a minister. Are you able to take that hat? Are you taking that hat off when you come home?
My first marriage, I didn't do it for a long time. Very honestly, I didn't. Because I used to make more money than him when we first got married. And I sort of threw that in his face until I lost that big job. And he never said anything. And then one day, about 6 or 7 months after I lost the job, I wasn't working. He walked by. He said, "Who make the most money now?" And it hit me right then. And he didn't stop. There was no conversation. He was just walking past me in the living room. He just said it. And he walked on into the kitchen. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my God. But from that day forward, I learned my lesson, but it was a hard lesson to learn. So I used to couldn't do it, but I'm a transitional person. If I'm at home because I like being a wife. I love to cook. I love the cleaning. I love the babies. I love when he came in. My husband's never fixed their plate. They just did nothing. I loved to make the fragrance of the room smell good for them because I love to be a wife. But as I grew, it just was a change. And I don't know. And it could be something I've done. I have no problem with learning. Could have been something I've done. But I just want the guy that I'm with. If I meet you powerful, if I meet you big, you know, don't come down off your mountain because I do have a big personality. And some people with big personalities can run over you. And I don't want to run over my husband.
So it could be a matter of personality, or it could be something different because they were attracted to your personality in the beginning. So we're just gonna throw that one out. In terms of your position in ministry, you were attracted to powerful men. They could have been powerful in their own right, but their circle of influence does not look the same if you're talking about
Mhm.
a director in a company sitting before a boardroom of 15 or 20 people versus a minister standing in a pulpit and they've got 1,500 to 2,000 people in the congregation, all saying amen, all clapping their hands, all jumping up and down when the spirit hits them. It's a different dynamic. And from that standpoint, it looks different in anybody's mind, man or woman. So you could have any two people look at a picture of a man standing in front of a conference room and a picture of you standing in front of your congregation, and you could ask any two people, man or woman, who's got the most influence. They're automatically going to pick you standing in the pulpit because they see all those people. So from a visual standpoint, and we hear all the time that men are visual creatures. From a visual standpoint, when he walks into that church, it appears visually, it appears in our subconscious, it appears that you have more influence.
Wow.
So in that respect, you may have to do extra work in your picking, and you may have to do extra work in the way that you communicate at home. And I'm not to say extra work, but let's put it in something simple. Um, Honey, I need you to take out the trash. Honey, can you get this? Honey, can you put some gas in the car? As a man, that sounds exactly like my boss at work. That sounds exactly like my manager at work. that sounds exactly like every other person who's over me at work. I need, do this, do that, do this. So if you switch that just a little bit, tweak it just a little bit. Hey, babe, can you come help me with the trash? Do you mind helping me? My gas is getting a little low. Do you, I noticed the yard work. I noticed the yard is looking a little crazy. If I do the weeding, can you help me with the grass? Or if I work on the flowers, will you help me with the yard? Whatever. So it's the can you help me versus I need, because we automatically feel that that automatically makes us feel that you need us. At least for me, it makes me feel that you need me. I know you don't need me to take out the trash. I know you don't need me to mow the grass. I know you don't need me to put gas in the car. But because you asked me to help you, can you help me with this? It hits the ear different. It hits the heart different.
Mm.
It makes me want to respond different than I need this, I need that, I need the other.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Changing my verbiage so it hits the heart different. That's going to go in my prayer book tonight. Thank you so much. Just when you think you've done all the work you need to do, something else comes up. Oh my goodness. I
I
haven't
always got
gone
to be
through
ready.
half of my questions yet. Oh my goodness. So that means you got to come back then. But we are going to get another question in. What are you looking for in a wife? Y'all, it froze a little bit. We got to see what's going on if he coming back. Let's see what happens, you guys. Wow, y'all. Well, while it's froze, I'm going to start talking a little bit because he's giving me a lot to chew on while my guest is frozen. Um, to the person I was speaking of, and he's gone. To the person that I was speaking of, my former person I dated, I really did not mean any harm by speaking of our relationship. I hope that you don't feel that way if you come across this. I loved you a lot then, and I still love you. You have been in my life for a really, really long time. So please take no offense. I didn't say your name, and I wouldn't. Yeah, but this is my story, and it is my life, and you played a huge part in it. And my guest is back, guys. Okay, we're back.
Hey, I'm not sure what just happened, but
It just froze up. We're back. I was just talking about what you just taught me, and I ran through it a little bit while you were gone. Changing my verbiage when I speak, and it'll hit the heart different. So I'm gonna place that in my prayer book tonight, in there. And another thing, I want to put your mom in my prayer book as well.
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put Juan's mom's in my prayer book tonight. I do have a question. My question was, what are you looking for in a wife?
I'm looking for personal accountability. I'm looking for someone who has a teachable spirit and has self-confidence.
When you say a teachable spirit, what does that mean?
Okay, so teachable spirit meaning that they feel like there is always more that they can be learning about the situation, about the relationship, about themselves in order to become a better person, a better partner, a better individual. So sometimes you'll run into people that feel like they have all the answers. They've got everything all figured out. I was that guy at 16. Yeah, that was me. 16 to 18, parents couldn't tell me nothing. I knew everything. I was like, you too old. You don't know nothing. And I joined the military and quickly found out that I didn't know nothing. I had one of my sergeants tell me, I hate privates. He used to just walk by and say that. I hate privates. So when I became a sergeant, I finally asked him, I finally got the courage up to ask him. I was like, why did you always tell me you hate privates? He was like, because they don't know anything. Like, how much more do you know now about being a good soldier, about character, about leadership, about your job, about how it affects the other people around you, how if you do the wrong thing, it could get somebody hurt? It's like, yeah, I really didn't know anything. He was like, see, that's why I hate privates. So you have to have that teachable spirit. You have to be willing to learn in every situation. So that's what I try to do is I try to put myself in a mindset of what am I going to learn out of this situation? What am I getting out of this? What knowledge am I gaining? Whether that be a job role that I don't particularly like, whether that be an interaction, just down to an interaction. You know, I could be going for ice cream. What can I get out of this information, out of this interaction? It may be the way that they do their customer service. It could be the way that they're very appreciative of me coming into the store and they're always saying thank you and calling me sir. And, you know, is there anything else I can get for you? And, you know, just from that standpoint, what am I doing to better myself? What information can I gather to make me sharper every day?
My last question tonight is, how do men retrain their brains not to carry trauma in their new relationships?
That's a tough one. So I can't speak for all. I definitely can't speak for all men on this one. For me, retraining my brain came from therapy. So I really had to look at what role I played in the situation and how could I be better. And which is why I try to look at myself first. I have to know what I'm doing. What is it that Juan is doing in this situation that could be incorrect? Or what could I do better to get a better outcome? So in in that trauma, in avoiding that, if you're looking at yourself first and you're looking at yourself honestly and being able to say, these are the things that I'm doing that I could do better, or these are the things that I'm not doing that I need to start doing. Or these are the things that I'm doing well and I can continue doing. All of that comes into play. And it boils down to, for me, it boils down to 4 basic questions. What do you want? I want a successful relationship. What are you doing to get it? Okay. Am I doing the same thing that I've always been doing, or am I trying to become a better person? Third question is it working? If I'm doing the same old thing, is it working? Yeah, I can find another relationship, but is it going to be another failed relationship? And the last question is, what are you willing to do to get a better outcome? So if I ask myself those 4 questions, then you go back to, is it working? So if it's not working, what am I doing? I'm trying to become a better person. I'm working on my communication skills in the relationship. I'm holding myself personally accountable. I'm very mindful of the traumas from my past relationships and don't want those to be brought into my new relationship. Is it working? Yes, because I'm able to better identify if it's something in me that's wrong, or that I need to deal with, or I need to work on, or if it's something in the other person that maybe they don't recognize, or maybe we can't get past, or whatever the case may be. And the last one is, are you willing to do something different to get a better outcome? I was willing to do something different to get a better outcome. And because I'm constantly asking those 4 questions, if it is a problem in me, I've already demonstrated that I'm willing to do something different to get a better outcome.
If I was looking down, it's because I'm taking notes.
So the first one is, what do you want? The second is, what are you doing to get it? The third is it working? And the fourth one is, are you willing to do something different to get a better outcome?
Thank you so much, Juan, for coming tonight. I appreciate you.
I
I
appreciate you.
appreciate you for being a great gift to the kingdom. And if nobody's told you this week, you are an amazing man.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And hopefully I'll see you in August.
You will. I'll be there.
I'll
got
be
my-
there with, I'll
got
be there
my
with my whole
Airbnb.
crew.
And I've got my tux picked out for the gala. I'm ready.
And you was already sharp at the last one, so with your
I'm doing
white
something different.
jacket, you was sharp, sir.
I'm doing something different this time.
All right. Well, I had my red dress on. We're going to deck out in a little different color ourselves. So,
All right.
all right. So you save a dance for me, sir.
Okay, you got it.
All right, guys. I thank everybody for hanging out with me on a Saturday night, because you could be anywhere else, but you came to hang out with me and Juan on Straight Talk Food for the Soul. So remember something Juan said tonight. Change your verbiage and it'll hit your heart differently. So we learned something tonight, and we're all praying for Juan's mother. So know that she is in our prayers, and for the caregiver, because everybody forgets about the caregiver. Everybody forgets about the caregiver. And because you're your mama, I know you're giving it up because you want to, but we want you to have everything you need because you're giving up what you need to take care of your mom.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. We love you and have an amazing weekend. Goodbye, everybody.